Hello YouTube. Just a little close-up look at this second model and the later model of the Pentax light meter. Actually, the Honeywell Pentax light meter. I don't know what their model designations are. There must be something, but this is the second generation. Anyhow. In the slideshow that follows this, you're going to see we take this out of there. This is what your on, off, low, high light knob is. And there's a few problems that I found. I've worked on 4 or 5 of these, and they all have all had the same problems so far. Either pretty bad battery compartment corrosion, or the contacts inside here have been pretty malled up with corrosion. I don't know, tarnish, whatever happens to little contacts in closed spaces over a period of 50 years. So one of the things you're going to want to do if you're going to go to the trouble of taking this thing apart is you're going to want to clean off this contactor here. This is the one that this little plunger thing works. Okay, for your battery test. So you're going to want to clean that contactor off. There's another one here, a little springy one on that side, and what that one does is it rides along the side of the drum, which is the part that turns when you turn the knob. Now there's no difference one side to the next. It's just a band of metal with a dead spot, which is your off position. What I found was that this drum, on one of them anyhow, corrosion got onto it and it ate into the surface. It was very, very fouled with I don't know, dirt, tarnish, corrosion, whatever you want to call it. It was pretty bad. In fact, bad enough so that I took apart another one and replaced just the drum part. I took this screw out and made a mental note that the screw was on this side, so screw here and another screw hole here, so that the two stayed together, because you need this position and this dead spot to be correct. And you also need to make sure you don't lose that little stopper on the end. And this bottom surface here also needs to be clean as well. So you may need to take that apart and give that a scrub down. The other contactor, which you can't really see, it's underneath this one. This one is springy, and when you push the, let's see, this would be like this. When you push that button, that's your battery test, and what it does is it closes the contactor you can see against a contactor underneath it you can't see. And what I did was I took a pair of tweezers and I slipped a little piece of cloth that had some Brasso dabbed on it. Got it underneath there and just wiggled it back and forth. Then used the clean end. Did the same thing again to clean it out. And doing that, I now have 2 working light meters when I had none before. These are a little more sophisticated than the first one I showed. Let's see if I can make this thing work. Make sure my thingamajig's recording. When you turn the high, low, on, off button, what you're doing is you're pushing or pulling this tab back and forth, which in turn moves your scale up and down. If you can see that. Also, when it goes up to or back to, let me make sure I'm saying that right, yes, when you turn it back to highlight, it also closes that little blind right there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but if you can see that, that's low light, it opens the blind, highlight, it closes the blind, and also adjusts the scale. And then again, if you can see it, there's the chain of gears that lead right to here that turn your scale to its appropriate point. And this would be the part that would clip on or clip over your shutter speed index. The thingamajig that's supposed to be here isn't here. I needed it for another camera, but anyhow, it goes over the camera. Okay, this is totally the wrong model, but you'll get the idea. It goes over like that, and that part fits over the speed index. Anyway, adjustment for its actual position. I said in the last video, I took a known light meter side by side at a given light source. Inside I use low light, and I would set the light meter, the known light meter, for ISO 400, say 125th of a second at whatever f-stop, and I'd set them side by side and see how close this meter was. And what I would have to do, I don't have the parts here, in the portion of the meter that isn't here, there's two set screws. You have to turn that around. You set your ISO speed according to this dot. You set it there, and then you can turn this and put the thing. Now the battery is in it. It's working. You turn this to wherever the needle is pointing. Say my Gaussian is saying 125th of a second at 2.8, f2.8. So there's f2.8. We're going to pretend the meter's right here. And what I would do is I would turn this to make all the gearing work, and I would turn this until the 2.8 was in line with my meter needle, and then I would turn the knob that also is not here. I would turn the knob until it registered the correct shutter speed. It took 2 or 3 tries to get it exactly right, but I got them both adjusted using that kind of ponderous method. And there you have it. I don't think there's anything else I haven't covered. These are pretty cool. Very simple mechanism. Not a lot that can go wrong with it. It's my opinion based upon what I've seen. If you can if you can find one that's in one piece and isn't terribly corroded, you clean up the contacts, clean up the battery compartment, it probably is going to work. That's just my experience from the ones that I've had. I've got 4 or 5 around here, because some were missing parts and some were damaged, but I got 2 to work out of the 5. I didn't spend a whole lot on them. I don't think they're worth spending much on. One actually came with a camera, which was a really good deal. So I'm not going to drag this out any longer. Following this will be a slideshow showing what I did with a few notes, and I hope you find it useful.